Welcome to the Coach Chris Oliver Show. I'm Chris Wells, Sports Information Director at Lindsey Wilson College. Joined here to my left is Coach Chris Oliver, head football coach of Lindsey Wilson College. And Coach, it's amazing to think, but we're just a couple days away from the 2011 kickoff. Tell us about when you first arrived at campus, or when the players first arrived at campus up until this point. Talk us through, I guess, training camp.
Well, when we reported in early August, our guys were eager to get back and get working. We've been working hard all summer on their own. We had a great spring session, and we were eager to get our freshmen in here for the first time. We felt like we had a solid recruiting class coming in, and we're excited about this group of guys. We're eager to get back. We start school earlier than some of the other schools in our conference, so we end up having a short camp where it's about a week long, where we have to squeeze in some two-a-days and get to work right away. And then we go into a weekly schedule with classes. And sometimes it feels like it's a long time from when classes start until our first game with the way our academic calendar falls. But our guys have acclimated well to that, and we've had a good week thus far. We've had a good camp, and we're excited and ready for the challenge Saturday night.
How different was this camp versus the first year's camp?
Well, it was very different. When we handed out room keys, most of the guys knew where to go when we reported in. So that's a big change, and having sophomores helps a lot. And we didn't bring back everybody, which in some ways is good, in some ways is bad. You want to hang on to those guys, but we had some healthy turnover, and we have a good group of leaders that have returned, and that's really the important part. But those guys have done a great job leading the freshmen along, and things have been much smoother this go around. Our players understand how we practice, what our expectations are, the tempo of how we run things, and we've been very pleased.
So basically, you have a terrific assistant or terrific coaching staff full of great assistants, but this year it's just a little bit easier having some guys out there who's been through the wars before.
Yeah, and as far as coaches go, we're doing it the second time together as well.
Yeah.
Coach Foose and I had worked together previously, but the rest of us were new. But it's really those players that lead it, and the coaches can tell them what to do, and we try to lead the best we can. But once those sophomores or returners are going out and doing things the right way, it makes it a lot easier on those freshmen.
You mentioned the sophomores have been through this before. Are they eager? They can't wait to get to September 3rd so they can finally hit someone else other than a teammate?
Yeah, I think they're really anxious, and they know what this conference is like. They know it's a great football conference. We played at Cumberland, obviously, last year. We know they're a great football team, and Coach Alexander's done a great job there in his short time there, his few years there. And, we know it's going to be a great test. I think our guys are excited. They said we have the number 18 ranked team in the nation coming into our house. They're going to be fired up. We're going to be fired up. It's going to be a packed crowd, packed stands. And, our guys are excited to get out there and really see our progress from year one to year two.
I'm sure your freshmen are just as eager, but do you sense any nervousness at all from them getting ready to play their first collegiate game?
Yeah, a little bit, and not big time. But even some of the guys who redshirted, yesterday in practice, all of a sudden it's game week, and we may have made a couple mistakes on some easy things that we hadn't messed up since day 3 of camp, and things that we got fixed in meetings last night. I'm not concerned about them, but I think all of a sudden it's game week, and guys started thinking in that mode. So yeah, some of those freshmen and first-time guys, you can get a little bit of nerves, but once you get hit for that first time, it gets knocked off and you're ready to go.
Outside of October 1st, you play your next 10 games over the next 11 weeks, so everything almost is a game week. How different is game week as opposed to when you first arrived at camp?
That's very much different. When we get to camp, we don't do any prep teams, no scout teams. Everybody's running our schemes on offense and defense. We compete against one another. And then about midway through last week, we started turning the page over to Cumberland and focusing on their schemes. And we split up the prep teams. The guys who aren't working with the first and second group go down and kind of run the Cumberland offense, Cumberland defense to give the top 2 groups a good look. And those guys on prep team have been really excited with the look that we've got the past week. Those guys have done a great job. We can notice a big difference already there from last year. So game week is different because you're just focusing on that opponent. We shorten down those special teams periods. We're trying to be crisp, get good reps, and get out, and then focus on preparing for our opponent while making sure that we are executing our techniques and the basics of the game. But game week is different.
Last season, the Blue Raiders kicked off the season with Notre Dame. This year, it's Cumberland, and you mentioned they're ranked 18th in the nation. not exactly the team you want to start out your season with. It's a challenge right away.
It is a challenge. And like I said, they've got a great program. They were 8-3 last year, just missed out on the playoffs. We know it's going to be a tough challenge. We know they're going to be a very solid football team coming in here. They got a lot of guys back on defense, and it's probably arguably the best defense in our conference last year. Offensively, they've got speed and athletes at the skill spots, and they've got a herd of running backs back there who can carry the football. They've got a tough scheme to prepare for on offense. So, we know it's a challenge coming in, but this conference is a challenge almost week in and week out. It doesn't matter what your record is; anybody can beat anybody else within this conference, and we're looking forward to getting started against what we know is going to be a very good football team coming in here Saturday night.
Lindsey Wilson kicks off this Saturday at 7 o'clock at Blue Raider Stadium against the 18th ranked team of the nation, Cumberland University. And Coach, I know game day, and I've been a part of it now for a year, and obviously you've been through it a number of years. It's got to be tough kicking off at 7 o'clock. There's a lot of time during the day to fill the void of getting ready, especially when you're used to either kicking off at 12:30 or 1:30 o'clock. What are you guys going to do all day long?
Yeah, if I could just wake up at 3 o'clock and start that pregame without being groggy, I would probably choose that option, but unfortunately that's not an option for us. So, we're going to get our guys up. We're going to meet in the morning, late morning. We're going to let them sleep in. We're going to meet late morning, probably get to sit around and watch a little bit of College Game Day on ESPN and kind of get our minds focused on, hey, this college football season and we're in game day. We eat a small lunch in the cafeteria and come back and then eat a pregame meal a few hours before kickoff, and then from there on, from about 4 hours out, it just turns into a normal game day routine. But yeah, there is some sitting around and waiting. In a lot of ways, it's kind of the worst time to kick off, or the night games. In high school, you got school all day, and you got things to fill your time. But you have a night kickoff in college football, you're trying to fill that time. But it's going to be great on Saturday night. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be great for our fans. It's going to be a lot cooler, and it won't be 90 plus at kickoff. And we're excited. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Again, that's this Saturday, 7 p.m. Cumberland U comes to Blue Raider Stadium. Coach, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of your players. Sam Wilson obviously is returning on defensive side. He was Mid-South Conference Freshman Defensive Player of the Year in the Eastern Division. And I know John Smith was an all-conference selection a year ago. First captain in Lindsey Wilson College football history. First, I guess, talk about John.
Yeah, we made John a captain about a week and a half ago, and that was really a unanimous decision by our coaching staff. And John just epitomizes what we're looking for in a captain. First of all, he's a great football player, but he's a great leader on and off the field. He's getting it done in the classroom. He's doing the right things off the field in his personal life. And the guys really look up to him, and he backs it up on the field with his play. And he's really a complete player for us and a complete type of person that we're looking for in this program. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have him with us and back for his second year. So we made John our first permanent captain, and he was pretty excited about that. And when he got summoned to my office for a closed-door meeting, I think he was a little bit concerned, but when we broke the good news to him, he was more than thrilled to volunteer his services to take that position on. And then you mentioned Sam, and we got a lot of other guys that are doing great. Sam has had a great camp. He did well in the spring, but you can notice a difference from spring to this fall. And we're excited about what that means for him. And part of that is I think we got better guys around. I think our talent is better, our athleticism is better, and when you have other players around him that are pushing him, but also opening things up, that makes Sam an even better football player himself. So Sam's had a great camp, and I think he's more than picked up right where he left off last year.
Normally we would go into a segment and talk about the players of the week, and we don't have that this week. Obviously, we'll pick that back up next week on the Coach Chris Oliver Show. But give us a hint of a few names that might stick out. That I don't put you on the spot, but I'm just curious on who you think could be difference makers on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start on defense. Sam Wilson obviously is a guy who we just talked about. Aaron Taylor is an outside linebacker for us who's had a very good camp. Has brought some leadership to our club and a little bit of experience. He's a transfer, and he's had a real nice camp, done a nice job for us. We've been really fortunate to find some defensive linemen, and we've had really two deep, 6, 7, 8 guys and our three-man front who really stepped up and had good camps. Zach Templin has come in as a true freshman and is going to start for us at nose guard on Saturday. And, he was a highly talented guy in the state, and he's done a great job for us. He's going to start at nose. Our safety play has been pretty good. Eric Shaw comes in. He was out of Lexington Lafayette a couple years ago and was a highly talented guy out of the Lexington area. He's going to start at safety for us. Tay Head is a returner, is going to start at the other safety. And then we feel like we've got some great backups there. I mean, Alex Abner and Connor Berry are two true freshmen who are right on those guys' heels. And we've got a four-man rotation there that is going to be really solid. And then, Keith Couch and Ramel Freeman have both had great camps at corner. And again, we've got some freshmen that are right there. We got about three guys rotating in that second group. So I'm excited about the defense, if you can't tell.
I can tell, yeah.
Offensively, John Smith's been a rock force in the middle. That offensive line, we got Ryan Locker back again. Billy Roberts is a returning starter who's back. Spencer Reed has had a really good camp for us at right guard. So we've got some guys who have come in and done a nice job. We've got some freshmen that are really pushing to start and play as well that we're excited about. Jake Bullhop and Cy Williams and some other guys that are doing a nice job. Richard Kennedy and Dakota Brown have been really good for us at running back. Unfortunately, we had some injuries early at running back, and we're fortunate that we had some depth at that position,
right.
But we've had some injuries and some guys that we lost that are running back. We still feel like we've got some guys who can get it done. Matt Powers has really upped his game, especially in the past week. His effort level has been a lot better. We kind of
game week.
We changed some things, and a little competition is good for everyone. Chaz Barnes has had a great camp at our left side receiver, and Shannon Cooper and Chris Dobbins and those guys, and we got freshmen pushing those guys. So we're excited about where we're at, and we need to become more consistent. That's where we're at. We've got the talent. Our guys know that they can succeed at this level, but we have to be a more consistent football team as individuals and as units.
I'm hearing you say that depth is definitely much better this year than last.
Yeah, we still have a few spots where we're thin, but there's no doubt it's night and day from a depth standpoint. And like I said, we've got a few positions where we're an injury or two away from being a little bit thin. But when you compare it to where we were at 365 days ago, it's a big-time difference for us. And I think where you're really going to see that depth help is our special teams. Coach Doherty's excited about what we're doing on special teams. I think our guys are getting a little bit tired of going out there and working on special teams against ourselves. So it'll be exciting to get out there and do that against Cumberland Saturday night.
Coach, 2010 was spectacular, no question about it. 5-6 record, 5 wins, the most, at least in recent history, of any other first-year program in NAI history. I guess, what are the goals going into 2011? Do you set long-term goals, or is it just game by game?
Well, the first goal every year from a football standpoint, we look at our entire season as a win in the Mid-South East Division, or whatever division we're going to be in the future, however that falls. We want to win the Mid-South East and secure that automatic playoff berth. We have goals beyond that, but that's our first goal every season. And it was last year, and it is this year, and will be every year. But we're focused on Cumberland. We're not worried about the rest of those teams on the schedule. So we know we got a great team coming in here Saturday night, and the first goal is, hey, let's beat Cumberland, because all we can do is win one game this week. So let's go 1-0 this week, and then we'll worry about next week.
You play Cumberland on Saturday night. I know there's going to be a special ceremony that we want to alert all the Lindsey Wilson fans prior to kickoff to come see.
Yeah, and most of our fans know that we had the passing of Victor Molden early this summer, and that was a tragic situation. And his family and a lot of friends have agreed to come Saturday night, and we're going to honor him before kickoff Saturday night. And we kick off at 7 o'clock, and we're going to have that ceremony about 6:35, 6:37 in that time. And we want to do that right after pregame warm-ups and allow our team to be on the field during that time. We didn't want to do it right before kickoff when the team is in the locker room. So we want our team to be out there because it's special for those guys, especially those returners. So we're going to honor Vic about 25 minutes before kickoff, and we want to get our fans and those parents into the stadium early so we can help honor Vic the right way with his family present. That's an important thing for us and an important thing for his family.
Coach, good luck on Saturday and throughout the season.
Thank you, Chris.
That's Chris Oliver here on the Coach Chris Oliver Show. Remember, Lindsey Wilson kicks off his 2011 season with Cumberland University, 7 p.m. Central Time from Blue Raider Stadium. We'll be on the air on WAIN 93.5 beginning at 5:30 with the pregame show. It'll also be televised on Dual County Channel 2, that's locally, and across the World Wide Web at lindseyathletics.com, right here on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Join us next week. We'll be back in our original time slot. That's Thursday nights for the Coach Chris Oliver Show. That'll come live from come to you live at 6:30 at Blue Raiders Stadium. But this week we'll have this on a tape delay basis, and you can tune in to the show leading up to the University of Kentucky football game on WAIN. For Coach Chris Oliver, I'm Chris Wells. This has been the Coach Chris Oliver Show on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.